We roam the still, cold world. No horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome to Frostpunk. This is Serious Trivia, and we're kicking off a brand new game on the channel as we're picking up Frostpunk. Now, Frostpunk is, obviously as you can see, featured in the future, or distant future, where the globe has gone into an ice age. I think mainly caused by volcanoes in the south, which is why when it turned cold, you went north. We are in Great Britain. We are starting off in London, going north of London to find a new home, which is going to be called New London, as they have these generators built by the British government when the winter would not end. So we are kind of an expedition that is searching for one of these generators. We have found it, and we have crossed the seas to reach this further north. On the way, our convoy was hit by blizzard and scattered, so there are parties that are lost and we can search for them, and the handful of us have reached the site of this generator, only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there any others out there? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst now that the world as we know it has crumbled. So this is a survival game. It's a tactical survival game where we have to make tough decisions and, make tough calls. We'll see very soon what I mean by that. We have to survive. That's the basic part of the game. And this is the generator and our party that made it here. And we're going to fight the cold. We got to get the generator up and running. It will provide the heat and power other buildings around it. Without it, we'll freeze to death, stockpile some coal, and start the generator. So as we start the game, we're going to pause real quick and take inventory of what we have and what our goals are with the game. So right now, first thing first, we have our temperature. It's in Celsius, negative 20 degrees, very, very cold. For those of you who use Fahrenheit, I use a bit of both, so conversion is not a big deal. We are looking at negative 4 degree Fahrenheit, very, very cold. Between the two different measurements, at negative 40, it's the same for both. So if you want a reference point, it's not like any of us normally experience this type of weather unless you live in the far north or the far south, especially now as we play the game in summer. Global warming definitely is I'm not going to say it's a thing or anything, not promoting science here, but it's very hot this summer in a lot of places. I'm sure you guys are all aware, and it's kind of refreshing to play a game where we're in -20 on the onset of the game. And if you think -20 is cold, this is a weather forecast. Day 1, Day 2, 3, 4, cold front. Temperature will drop significantly, 2 levels. So 2 levels here means 20 degrees. So it's going to be -40 on day 4. And until we get a symbol that's kind of orange, which means temperature's coming back up, it's going to be really cold past day 4. So for us to survive that type of weather, if we look at the weather or temperature overlay, you can see the entire plain here, or basin actually, we're inside this basin. It's chilly. Now chilly means there's a low risk of falling ill. If it drops by 2 levels, we're going to be looking at very cold. It's going to be high risk of falling ill. And the humans inside, you can see our crew of 80 homeless men or women are currently livable. They're standing next to a dead generator. We need to turn it back on. But first turn it back on, we got to stockpile some coal. And there are going to be a lot of resources that we need to gather in the game. There is coal, wood, steel, and steam cores, which we cannot create. These are tech that we're going to have to salvage from different scouting parties that we can send out. And of course, there's raw food and food rations. So currently we don't have food and we don't have coal, and these are problems we're going to have to solve right away. And if you notice the artwork here and the way the situation is set up, we're not in the future, but rather we are in an alternate past. So this is more of a steampunk version of England. So the game's name being called Frostpunk kind of explains that. And this is the generator that we have to start up. Now looking around at our basin, there are scattering of resources. So there's coal that we can send workers to go pick up, and there are wooden crates that we can salvage wood from. And each of these have 120 wood, 60 steel from these steel wreckages, and a couple more wood. There's 4 wood piles, so we have about 480 wood total. This is what I mean by taking inventory of what we have, because it's very important. Once we run out of these resources, we would have to build actual sawmills and take down trees like this, rather than salvage wooden crates. There are currently 3 steel wreckage, 60 each, so we're looking at 180 steel. And in terms of coal, we're looking at 5 piles of coal, 500 each. So we're looking at 2,500 coal piles. And in terms of our workforce, we have 50 available workers and 15 engineers, and for a total of 65 men. And finally, there are 15 children who cannot work. We need to put them to work. Now, engineers can do more educated tasks like running hospitals or running research facilities, whereas workers tend to focus on menial labor like gathering or hunting. And as the game progresses on, we're currently at 8 a.m. There's a work clock. It's work time. So there are different shift timers. I believe you work from 8 to 6, or maybe 8 to 8. No, 8 to 6. I think it's a 10-hour workday. You can drive them to work them longer, but for now the default is 8 to 6, and that's fine. And if you have them tasked to do something, they will go do something. We have one building, the Stockpile building. You can see the temperature of each building. Right now, without the generator, it's quite cold, and it shows how much we can hold of each resource and what our production rate for those resources are. Right, we can also attach supply, a different resource storage onto the building to kind of make those resource store more. But that's currently all we have. If we want to build more things, we have to take stock of how much resource they will cost, because the reason why we took inventory, right, we have 480 wood, and we need to plan out our builds so that we don't go past that. until we have access to our research to the point where we can, use or build out different sawmills, coal mines, and I think there's iron ores that we can use to create steel. So yeah, a lot of work here. This costs 15 wood and 5 steel. We actually have that resource right now. We're tempted to build that. We also need to start making food. We desperately need to get some food rations so our people don't go hungry. So we have to convert raw food into cooked food. That's going to take a cookhouse. And then we need a hunter's hut. Okay, which is 20 wood. And you can see here there's a base heating level. This basically says how much heat the building themselves will produce. The higher the level, the warmer they are, and the farther out from the core we should build this. So for example, surrounding the core right now, we should really focus on building where our people sleep, right? These tents and maybe medical posts where they will go heal if they get sick. But Hunter's Hut we can probably push out farther away. And I believe hunters go out at night, right? So we can wait to build this one. We're going to not build gathering posts. People work here, gather resource nearby, coal. Basically, we can plop this down into an area where there's resources and they will go gather them automatically if they work in the post. We're just going to send out our workers into the cold. Basically, this will provide them with some heat level. I think it's maybe a slight waste of resource at this point. We don't have the luxury of doing that. And you can also see there's going to be a road network and a radio system to build out things. Alright, that's enough introduction. We're going to start our plan. We're going to first send people out to these crates. We need a lot of wood early on, so we're going to maximize our wood. And obviously we're going to need a lot of coal as well. That leaves us 35 workforce. Steel is actually not that important early on, so I think we'll just add maybe 5. And during the day, I don't know, they will get tired, so I guess we will assign some hunting parties right off the bat. Can we build both? 20 wood and 20 wood. So we need 10 extra wood to get this build. And I would also like to build this pretty soon. And on top of buildings, there is going to be this book of law, which we can basically create adaptations to our society. And there are going to be hard choices. Things like emergency shift, where we can force workers in any facility work for the next 24 hours straight. It will cause discontent for the workers who work it, as well as for the whole society. And then there's things like child labor. Or on the opposite side, we can create hope with child shelter, but then we have to build additional buildings to keep the children warm, and they become pretty much useless in childhood. And there's going to be prices to pay with all these decisions. How we dispose corpses. Cemetery will give us hope, whereas corpse disposal in a snow pile will raise discontent, but it will lead to something called organ transplant, as these frozen bodies, not rotten, can be harvested with organs for society, whereas ceremonial funerals will waste workers' time. So depending on how our society progresses, if we're on the edge of survival, organ transplant doesn't sound so bad. But if we have a booming society, maybe ceremonial funerals will give people a sense of the old life. And we can only sign these once in a while. I think each one we sign will give a cooldown before we can sign a new one. So here, the first one I might be interested in signing is this soup one. Will drop hope, increase discontent, and drinking soup will also cause discontent. Food additive is adding sawdust to your food. And obviously the reason why we do this is to make them more filling, or to stretch our food supplies a bit more. This is a recipe of food that can help us feed more people. Let's not be so cruel right off the bat. People who eat sawdust meals will be sick more often. and people who eat soup will be discontent. Let's try to get enough food, but those are options we have. I think the first building we'll build will be a cookhouse. And you can see that these buildings will come in different width as well as different height, and that's gonna dictate how we plan out our build here. Now cookhouses, despite having only one heat source, does not require someone working in it all the time, because we can convert the food over and they don't have to send anyone to work. We have a road here, and we can build roads in these adjacent edges, and we're gonna use that road and just plop this building down here, I think. And you can build streets farther out here. I'm gonna build one more street so I can build buildings on that side too. Basically, you need to have road access to all your buildings. And I believe each street costs 1 wood, so we're gonna be pretty stingy with our streets. Alright, and we can get on with the game. Our workers should be going. Those who are not working will be helping out building this out, 10 people. And we're gonna try to build a hunter's hut before the day is over, so that at night we can send out some workers to build those or hunt for us. Alright, we sent 5 men there. We set 15 men here. And then 15 men here. And you can see our workers going out there. And we can take the perspective of one of these workers, you know, Day 1 Diary of Sir Richard Layton. We are alone in this world, but we are part of the lucky crew who made it to a generator, even if it is frozen solid and not working. It will cost us about 6 coal to turn on this machine, so I've been sent out with the crew to harvest some coal in this scrap pile of coal. Seems like there's plenty for us to grab. And you can see that we're harvesting 18 per hour, so hopefully with our crew of 15 we can bring back enough coal so that we can burn it tonight, so that the living conditions will get better. And then we have another group farming out the wood and steel so that we can build houses. Speaking of building houses, that cookhouse is done. We also have enough wood, so we're going to pop one of these hunter houses, and I'm going to put it on the other side here. And we're gonna also add 1 worker, maybe 2. Let's put 5 in. So we need to quickly convert our raw food supply into food rations. And you can see here each raw food will become 4 food rations. And we can also note the living conditions. So this is livable. There's base 1 heat. So working here is actually better than standing out in the middle at this point. And this is going to have base 2 heat, which is going to be rather warm. And you can see the working hours. It is 8 to 6. Worker has not arrived yet. You can see 0 people. We do have spare workers. I don't understand why they're not going there. I mean, 10 people is working on this. 5 people should be inside. And these should be the kids. No, you are not working. Why are you not working? Oh, we have 15 people building this. Oh no, we finished building. Maximum this. 40 per hour. You can see that we don't need that many workers here. I'm gonna use 5 engineers, and only workers can be hunters. So this way we can still get our food. Engineers doing nothing. That's probably what that gentleman was doing. He's an engineer. And while we have the daylight, well, actually the working hour is almost over. So we got the hut up, and let's get some houses up as well. We do want to start research. The workshop. Base heating level 2, so this should also be in the 2nd ring, I think, if not the 3rd ring, to be honest. We have an existing road here that we can use so that we don't have to build out. Save us a bit of wood. Alright, let's build that first. And today, okay, we do get 20 wood, so we're gonna build enough tents for the children. We have 15 children. Oh, no. Let's speed it up. Alright, we're gonna send 5 engineers and look at the tech tree. So the tech tree is divided into tiers as well as different categories. Each tier, if we have access to them, we need to actually research the whole tier first. It will open up the tiers for each of them, so that's quite helpful. And early on, we might be interested in things like hunting gear to help our hunters basically bring back more food. Up to 20 raw food per hunt. It's basically a 5 food improvement for 10 wood. This is why we had to take inventory of how much wood we have, because we gotta really think about where we need to put our resources. Like for example, we need to get the sawmill created before we run out of wood, or else we're doomed as a society. So we need to save 10 for this, and then we also need to build a sawmill before we run out of all the wood. So this is actually quite important in my mind. Same for steel work, same for coal. You can see all these research take wood. So I feel like wood is actually quite important early on. Faster gathering is nice, but at this point, it's not going to help us. So Beacon will be one of the missions early on where we look for survivors. Right now, that's not our priority. We can also build these steam hubs. So what these are connecting pieces to the generator that uses steel, and they will create a smaller heat zone around them, and they will consume 3 coal per hour. So they're quite similar to our big generator, except for they're consuming about half the coal to provide limited amount of heat. Or we can install heaters in workplaces to raise their temperature level by 1, consumes 1 coal per hour when running. This basically just makes sure we can build some of our work buildings farther out and then keep them warm. That's especially true for things like sawmill. So those are things we should consider. I think we start with sawmill actually, so that we have wood in the future, as I mentioned. And the reason why I mentioned, we have an event here. The heat is off. Yes, it is off. We will turn it on for the night. Power on. Oh, power on. There we go. And if we take a look at temperature now, things are getting a little bit more livable. Now, not for those gentlemen who don't have a home. Unfortunately, we can't take care of them. And we're consuming the coal that we collected. By tomorrow, we should have the 200 coal. Alright, back to our planning phase. Building wise, eventually we should be able to build, maybe from road we can see it. Yeah, there we go. So that would be a coal mine. That would be something else. That's where we can build a what is it called? Sawmill, right? Also here. So we have this road. I'm gonna use this road eventually to build this central grid out, and then build this mine right here. We're going to focus our gathering over here as well, so we can clear the land so we can use them. And obviously if we build it that far out, our generator is not going to provide enough heat for them. And these buildings require their own heat level, which is great. But the whole idea here is that we will probably need to put a heater in there, so our workers aren't freezing to death. Let's fast forward the night. With only 2 little shelters, that's all we can really do. And our stockpiles depleting rapidly. And we have sick people. So no one's gravely ill. The reason why they're sick is mainly because they are not having a home to sleep in. We'll solve that problem in the coming days. And we also need to get a hospital for them. That's gonna once again require wood. So we can do some deployment change here. There's wooden crates here. We're gonna send the rest of our crew over. And you can see the cookhouse. We have enough food here where we can ditch the crowd and have all of them come here gather wood for us at the start of next day. Alright. We have no one working the steel, which is okay. Once we get to 5 o'clock, rise and shine for the whole group. We have a bit of discontent due to lack of culture, and there's a decent amount of hope. Alright, everyone's up, but no one's working yet, because it needs to be 8. Agnes, another day. John, get a move on, chaps. There's plenty of work to do. Yes, there is plenty of work to do. Workers needed. There's so much to do and not enough hands to do it. A quick way of addressing this problem is to put our children to work. Right, child labor. The thing about child labor is I'm not against it in this situation, but they can be only worked in cookhouses and hothouses. We don't have the technology for hothouse, which is basically a greenhouse to farm. So right now, this doesn't actually give us anything. I'm also not going to go for child shelter right now either. If we're desperate for hope, that's basically a good place to do it. But right now, we're not really desperate for hope. I don't think we need to go for anything just yet. We need to get wood, so we need to become 8 o'clock. Alright, workers going out. We have 10 wood. I need 25 wood. Good. Alright, the medical tent will stay in the inner core because people who are sick need to stay warm. Yes, we're out of wood. I realize that. That's why we have 2 crews on wood. Family torn apart. Sir, a woman came forward after we built the workshop. She said that her husband and daughter didn't reach the city with the main group, but she's sure they're still out there. She wants to join the first scout team when we'll send out. She urged you to hurry. So we need to build a beacon, basically, to get this to work. And I might turn this off real quick, because if we take a look, it's warm enough, even when, I mean, it's not shut down yet, but even when it's shut down, it's warm enough. It's not cold. Wait till it gets to day 4. That way our coal can actually be built up to 200. We can finish that first mission here. Our wood is coming in. Research is happening. Wonderful. And we have a little bit of storage of raw food. Honestly, we probably need another hunters group to get us enough food. But first, I think we need to have no more sick people, so we're gonna build out our housing. Oh, my mistake. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're still missing 1. Problem solved. And we also need people working here once we finish building the medical post. We're gonna have them come build now because, you know, we got the wood. We'll have the engineers build. Ah, we finished our first mission, and Sawmill has been researched. Food. The generator hums with reassuring warm, but we couldn't take it for granted. If the generator goes down, the city dies. Be mindful of coal reserve. Now food. There is no food. There will be no city if we starve to death. Secure a way to provide raw food and build a cookhouse to prepare meals. Yes, that is a concern, actually. So, just thinking about who we have on what. We have 15 on wood. These will deplete in 3 hours, which is soon. We have 5 group on steel, 15 on coal. We are probably going to be running our machine, actually. At least during the night, to keep everyone warm. Although it is livable, I wonder if it's going to be livable when we turn it off. We're about to find out. Are people from our convoy with basic resource secure for now? I don't know about that. We can try to rescue the people we left behind, build a beacon, scout Frostland, save as many survivors from our expedition as possible. Right, we have that workshop. And we definitely should set up a new research. Is beacon the way to go, though? Like, sure, we would like an influx of workers, but then that's more housing, that's more food. And still thinking about heaters, as well as hunting gear. The beacon also costs a bit to build. Hothouse would also be interesting, but I remember hothouse take a steam core to build, and we can only build one of those. So maybe double hunting tent might be our solution for now. Alright, we're gonna do this. And then the beacon. Right. And back to work, guys. Yeah, it is still very livable. The base heat is enough in this weather, I think. Oh, I don't think it's completely shut down yet. It's shutting down. Alright, it's shut down. But you can see it's still warm enough. So we can save some coal. Yeah. We'll save it for when the weather is actually cold. Alright, these houses are getting built. Everyone has a home now. Research is going. The medical post is not finished. We really need this to be finished so that they can be treated. That's our hunting party. The generator is down, yet the weather is fine. No, we're fine. The temperature doesn't drop during the night, and we have all these livable tents. Save coal. It's a resource. Alright. Send in our engineers, and we will have patients getting treatment. The last of our tents. Alright, we have 18 wood left. 201 wood. This pile is gone. Wait, this pile is... Did we finish a pile? I think we did. Okay, good. We're gonna be sending them over here now. The distance doesn't really matter because you can see them starting gathering as they walk towards it, so it's not like a physical challenge. We're missing one set of houses, it seems. 10 homeless. I don't want any more sick, so let's build that. See, people are getting sick. Not anymore. A home for everyone. And those who are sick will get treated. We have 5 slots for patients, and it'll take about a day to heal them. Most of them are childs. An engineer and a worker are sick, so they can't work next day, basically. It's a bit unfortunate. Alright, let's get on with day 3, which is actually kind of the last day where we will actually enjoy decent temperatures. We're live, yes we are. Alright, so you can see that planning out ahead, once we hit day 4, we'll be at -40, and it's only going to bounce back to -30 by day 6. So there's going to be this 2-day period where it's even dangerous for us to send people out to gather, which means we need to... Oh, we also need to have someone working here now because we're running out of food. Right, we have a few sick absences here. You can see out of the 5 people... No, they're all here. They're all here. 33% is off the full 15. Here's where we're missing one. It's the sick worker here was getting healed. And then we're missing one worker here because one of the engineers also went down with sickness. But they'll bounce back. They'll bounce back. And we're saving the coals now so that during these days we might not even send them out. We might just have them huddled up inside their little tents. Alright, at least we got all the housing taken care of before we got to that time. We have a sawmill, so you can see that we can build them out. Oh, not there, but nearby, and harvest these trees. This is our main road system, but will destroy resources. So we want to build them like here, maybe? But we'll just need a street there. That's not a lot of trees. I thought we were going to build them here. Right, it's an important facility, but it's not this one. I mean, we're not at that point yet. We're going to have to rely on those things first. The wooden crates and such. Yeah, everyone is livable right now. Hunting gear is researched. And now we go on to the beacon. Now I want to build out the road a little bit, because eventually we do want to reach these trees. It seems like this might be the best spot to place that. And then make a turn of sorts. Maybe a tad wasteful, but let's do that for now. You can't really do city planning unless you get the grid down. Alright, 3 more working hours. And be prepared for the cold front. We have stashed enough coal, and we actually depleted the coal stash. We're out of food as well, so we don't need anyone working here anymore. We have 112 food plus whatever we end up hunting tonight to get us through the days ahead, which is not enough. I think each individual here will eat 1 food. Alright, now no one's working. We recalled everyone. I'm gonna build another hunter's tent. I might build it farther out, because it has 2 base heat. So it doesn't have to be so close, and we can probably build houses on the 2nd tier, and we don't have to waste money on the road since we already built this road here. Alright, so I'm gonna build another hunter's hut here. We need more food, basically. That's the hunting party. It's not cold yet, guys. We're fine. I wonder if they can still send out the party tonight. I think they can, which is great. See if we come back with more than 30 food. I think 30 would be base, or depending on how many people actually got sent out. Yeah, it is producing food. We're gonna get 40 back, and that's gonna be maybe enough food for us to pass through the next few days, and we're gonna work ourselves towards the cold front here. Our sick are getting healed. Oh no. How did we get a new sick? I thought we healed everyone. Oh, we have 2 new sick people. Maybe because they went out hunting. It's my only guess. Because I guess even livable, there's a low risk of falling ill. All right, let's speed it up. A new day, and it's gonna be cold. Let's see how cold. We got 20 food back. All right, you can see the temperature dropping, dropping, dropping. Everything's chilly. Bump it up, boys. All right, our heat is only gonna hit the first zone, so this is gonna be bad for us. You can see that even right now, it's still cold. So what we can do is push it to overdrive, and that way we can increase the heat zone by 1. But we'll be stressing out the machines. So I think once we reach full steam level 1, we can do that. Let's see if that's actually true. Now it's livable. Working for these will actually cause problems, so we're actually gonna drop them. We only got 20 back, so only the crew that went got food back. I'm gonna send 5 here real quick during the day to just make those food for us quickly. And I think right now, this is a good stopping point for us. We're going to come back and push through these couple cold days and see how we do. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and see you guys next time. Bye!